Welcome to my channel, where manga and anime stories come to life in audiobook form. Here you'll find manga-inspired adventures, anime-style fantasy, action-packed battles, dark mysteries, and emotional story arcs. From powerful heroes and crazy plot twists to supernatural worlds and unforgettable characters, there's always a new story waiting. If you've ever said just one more episode at 2 a.m., you'll fit right in. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Rain quietly fell outside the hospital window as Yuji Itadori sat beside his grandfather's bed. The old man's breathing was weak, but his eyes still carried warmth. "Yuji, you're strong." Yuji tried to smile. Yeah, save the lecture for later, old man. But deep down, he knew something was wrong. His grandfather slowly looked toward him one last time. "Use your strength to help people. Make sure you don't die alone." The room fell silent, and in that moment, Yuji lost the only family he had left. At school, Yuji tried to distract himself by spending time with the occult club. The club members laughed nervously as they examined a strange object wrapped in ancient paper seals. None of them understood the horror hidden inside it. Far away, a dark-haired boy named Megumi Fushiguro rushed through the city, searching desperately. Please don't let it be too late. The cursed object had awakened, and something terrifying was coming. That night, the school corridors became cold and silent. Then came a sound, a growl, a scream. Shadows twisted unnaturally across the walls as horrifying curses appeared from the darkness. Yuji's eyes widened. What are those things? Megumi stepped forward without fear, summoning his Shikigami. Stay back. The curse lunged violently toward the students. Megumi gritted his teeth. Damn it, there's too many. Even injured, Yuji refused to run, because his grandfather's final words echoed inside his mind. Help people. Yuji clenched his fists. I'm not letting anyone die. Megumi stared at him in disbelief. You're just a normal human. Why are you risking your life? Yuji shouted back with tears and anger in his voice. Because I can't just stand there and watch people die. The curse attacked again. The entire hallway shook. Blood stained the floor. Megumi struggled to stand. And then Yuji saw it. The cursed finger. Pure evil radiated from it like poison. Megumi's eyes widened in horror. Don't touch it. But Yuji had already made his decision. If this gives me power, then I'll use it. He swallowed the finger. For one terrifying second, everything went silent. Then, dark energy exploded through the building like a storm. The air itself became heavy. A terrifying smile slowly appeared on Yuji's face. But it wasn't Yuji anymore. Ryaman Sukuna had awakened. Ha ha ha, the light feels different in this era. His voice echoed through the school like a monster finally escaping its cage. Megumi froze in fear. No way. Sukuna looked at his own hands and grinned. After all these years, I'm finally free. The curse nearby trembled before him. Sukuna smiled cruelly. Pathetic. In an instant, the curse was destroyed effortlessly. The overwhelming power made Megumi realize one thing. This wasn't human. This was a disaster. But suddenly, Yuji's voice fought back from within. Give me back my body. Sukuna's smile slowly disappeared. What? And then, against all logic, Yuji regained control. Breathing heavily, he looked at his trembling hands. I came back. Megumi stared at him with complete shock. He suppressed Sukuna. Something impossible had just happened. Moments later, footsteps echoed through the night. A tall man with white hair appeared calmly at the scene. Satoru Gojo smiled casually despite the destruction around him. So, you're the kid who ate Sukuna's finger. Yuji looked exhausted and confused. Who are you? Gojo laughed softly. The strongest. And from that night onward, Yuji Itadori's normal life disappeared forever. The cold night air surrounded Yuji Itadori as he sat tied to a chair deep inside the world of jujitsu sorcerers. In front of him stood the man everyone respected. Satoru Gojo. Calm, relaxed, but terrifyingly powerful. Gojo smiled casually. You know, the higher-ups already decided something. Yuji looked confused. Decided what? Gojo answered without emotion. Your execution. Silence filled the room. Yuji's heartbeat stopped for a moment. Because deep inside him lived Ryaman Sukuna, the king of curses. Suddenly, Sukuna appeared inside Yuji's mind, sitting on a throne made of bones and darkness. Brat. You're going to die anyway. Yuji glared at him angrily. Shut up. Sukuna laughed loudly. You humans are amusing. Back in reality, Gojo explained the truth. 20 cursed fingers of Sukuna still existed in the world, and Yuji was the only person capable of consuming them without instantly dying. Gojo crossed his arms. So here's the plan. You eat every finger. Then we kill you. Yuji froze. The weight of those words crushed him, but then he remembered his grandfather's final wish. Help people. Yuji slowly lowered his head. If my death can save others, then I'll do it. For the first time, Gojo's playful smile faded slightly. Because Yuji accepted death so naturally. Later, Gojo took Yuji to Tokyo Jujutsu High. the school hidden from normal society, the place where people fought monsters born from human fear. On the way, Gojo acted carefree as usual. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, everything will be fine. Yuji stared at him. You really think you're unbeatable, huh? Gojo smiled confidently. I'm not thinking it. I know it. At the school entrance, Yuji met the strict principal, Masamichi Yaga. Yaga's eyes were sharp. Why do you want to become a jujitsu sorcerer? Yuji hesitated. At first, he couldn't answer properly. But then emotion poured from his heart. People die unfairly every day. If I have the power to stop that, then I want to use it. Yaga silently observed him. Then finally, you may enter. The episode ended with Yuji standing at the gates of a completely new world. A world filled with death, curses, and endless battles waiting ahead. Morning sunlight filled the streets as Yuji Itadori prepared for his very first mission as a jujitsu sorcerer. Beside him stood Megumi Fushiguro, calm and serious as always. But someone else soon arrived. A girl with fiery confidence and fearless eyes. Nobara Kujisaki. Move. I don't walk behind people. Yuji blinked awkwardly. She's scary. Megumi sighed quietly. You'll get used to it. Gojo gathered the 3 students together. For the first time, Team 7, no, the first-year trio of Jujitsu, High stood united. Gojo smiled proudly. This generation might actually become incredible. Nobara crossed her arms. Obviously, Yuji laughed nervously. She really likes herself. Their first mission seemed simple. Rescue a missing child from inside an abandoned building infested with curses. But the moment they entered, the atmosphere changed completely. The air felt heavy. Darkness swallowed the hallways. Yuji whispered carefully. This place feels wrong. Nobara tried hiding her fear behind confidence. Tsich, it's just a curse. But even she could feel it. Something evil was waiting inside. Suddenly, horrifying cursed spirits attacked from shadows. Nobara reacted instantly. She pulled out nails and a hammer. Watch carefully. With a powerful swing. Bam! A nail pierced directly through a curse. Yuji's eyes widened. That's your technique? Nobara smirked proudly. Beautiful, right? But deeper inside the building, the danger increased. A child began crying in fear. And then a massive curse appeared before them. Its twisted body crawled unnaturally across the walls. Yuji immediately stepped forward. I'll protect the kid. The curse roared violently. Yuji punched it with everything he had. But Nobara suddenly shouted, Don't underestimate me. She slammed another nail forward, activating her cursed technique. The curse screamed painfully before collapsing. Breathing heavily, Nobara looked toward Yuji. I'm not weak. Yuji smiled. Yeah, I can tell. Outside the building, Gojo watched proudly from afar. The 3 students argued loudly while walking together. Yuji laughed. Nobara complained. Megumi looked exhausted already. And for the first time since entering the world of curses, Yuji felt something new. Maybe he wasn't alone anymore. Dark clouds covered the sky as Yuji Itadori, Megumi Fushiguro, and Nobara Kujisaki arrived for a dangerous mission at a detention center. Several people were trapped inside, and something inside the building felt horribly wrong. The air itself carried fear. Before entering, Satoru Gojo warned them seriously for once. If things get dangerous, run. Those words alone terrified Yuji, because Gojo never sounded worried. The moment they stepped inside, reality twisted around them. The detention center transformed into a nightmare. Hallways stretched endlessly. The walls pulsed unnaturally, and cursed energy flooded the air like poison. Nobara looked around nervously. This place is disgusting. Megumi's expression darkened immediately. A special grade. Yuji froze. Even he could feel it. Something overwhelmingly evil was nearby. And they saw it. A horrifying special grade curse emerged from the darkness. Its body looked twisted beyond recognition. Its presence alone made breathing difficult. Yuji whispered shakily. What is that thing? The curse moved instantly. Too fast. Too powerful. In seconds, Yuji was thrown through walls like he was nothing. Blood covered the floor. Megumi shouted desperately. Yuji! The students quickly realized the truth. They could not win. Megumi clenched his fists. We need to escape now. But Yuji looked toward the trapped survivors still inside. His eyes trembled with fear and frustration. If we leave, they'll die. Megumi grabbed him aggressively. If we stay, we die. Then the curse attacked again. Yuji barely survived. Pain shot through his body. And in that moment, he understood the terrifying gap between himself and true monsters. Yuji slowly stood up, breathing heavily. Then he made a decision. A dangerous one. Megumi, take Nobara and leave. Megumi's eyes widened. What are you planning? Yuji smiled weakly. Trust me. Inside his soul, Ryam and Sukuna grinned with excitement. Finally, Yuji gave up control, and Sukuna awakened. Dark energy exploded through the detention center. The special grade curse froze in fear for the first time. Sukuna smiled monstrously. Know your place. In an instant, the curse was completely overwhelmed. Far away, Megumi suddenly sensed the terrifying cursed energy. His face turned pale. No. Inside the ruined battlefield, Sukuna laughed wildly as destruction surrounded him, and Yuji's fate began slipping further into darkness. The detention center had become silent. Broken walls surrounded the battlefield as Ryam and Sukuna stood smiling among the destruction. The special grade curse never stood a chance. Sukuna looked almost disappointed. That was boring. But then, his eyes slowly shifted toward Megumi Fushiguro. And for the first time, Sukuna showed genuine interest. You're interesting. Megumi immediately felt danger crawl down his spine. Sukuna attacked without warning. The ground shattered beneath them. Megumi desperately used his Shikigami to defend himself. Divine dogs, the creatures lunged forward, but Sukuna destroyed them effortlessly. Megumi struggled to breathe. Every instinct screamed at him to run, yet he refused, because Yuji trusted him. Meanwhile, inside his inner world, Yuji Itadori desperately tried to regain control. Give me back my body. Sukuna only laughed. You handed it over willingly, brat. Yuji punched the walls in frustration. People are going to die. But Sukuna didn't care. Human lives meant nothing to him. Back outside, Megumi fought with everything he had. Sweat covered his face. Blood dripped from his injuries. Still, he continued standing. Sukuna smiled cruelly. Why do you keep fighting? Megumi answered through clenched teeth. Because that's my job. For a brief moment, Sukuna seemed impressed. Interesting. Then suddenly, Yuji did the impossible once again. He regained control. Megumi's eyes widened with relief. But Yuji looked horrified, because he understood what Sukuna had done while using his body. And worse, he realized the danger would never disappear. Yuji quietly lowered his head. I am sorry. Moments later, the truth reached Tokyo Jujutsu High. The higher-ups made their decision immediately. Yuji Itadori was too dangerous to live. That night, Yuji sat alone thinking about death, about fear, about the burden he now carried. Then he smiled sadly. If this is the only way, then I'll keep fighting. Far away, Gojo listened silently. And for the first time, even the strongest sorcerer looked worried about Yuji's future.